The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
Good afternoon. It's Monday, October 8th. It is Columbus Day at the headquarters of Technical Trading and Investing, TFNN.com. Columbus Day, I guess, I thought we used to have it off as a kid. I can't remember now. Of course, everybody's kind of like tried to make Columbus a bad dude lately, but I don't know. He was kind of a okay dude, and he ended up getting killed for his trouble. Kind of wasn't like he had a great life, but did give us a place to go when it was time to cash out of Europe with their restrictive ways and not letting us do what we wanted to do in the way of worshiping our own God and taxing us too much, so we were able to go somewhere. Unfortunately, we don't have that opportunity today. A lot of people say freedom of religion is freedom from religion, depending on which side you are on. I think that we spend a lot of time these days trying to apologize for extreme religions, and too many people mock ones where their people just go and have try to instill some decent values in kids. But I think even if you're an atheist, you should want to say that it is, you're willing to give rights to other people, even if it costs your own. And part of military service, you don't have to actually practice it, but you certainly have to support all our basic rights. A lot of people are coming up with all kinds of rights that don't exist. The guy that a lot of people were making a big deal out of this phone program, where I didn't even know it, but I guess 15 million people have free phones in some kind of, I don't know, how can I say it? Let's see. Let me see here. I was doing something and then got sidetracked and missed it. Let's see if I can find it here. Den. Yep, I forgot to start my Den feed here, so we will get to it in just a second here. There we are. So we are back in business here on the Den. Anyway, a gentleman from, I guess it was the CEO of, I think it was TracFone, said it was a right for Americans to have phones. I don't know about that. Anyway, Columbus Day, since 1971, the holiday's been fixed to the second Monday of October. Coincidentally, the same as Thanksgiving in neighborhood Canada. I never knew that. Why don't they celebrate the end of November like us? I've always wondered about that Canadian conspiracy. Yeah, Michael J. Fox, he was Canadian. Tells you a lot, doesn't it? Hawaii, Alaska, and South Dakota are the three states that don't recognize Columbus Day at all. Why South Dakota? That's beyond me. But anyway, I could almost make a case for Hawaii and Alaska coming along so late that it didn't really matter. South Dakota? Yeah, who knows? Hawaii and South Dakota mark the day with an alternative holiday or observance. Hawaii celebrates Discoverers Day. But I think you could probably, I don't know, maybe, has it really become just an Italian day? Maybe something like in New York or Chicago. I don't know. But I'll always remember 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. All you had to remember, and that was pretty much it. So anyway, a wonderful Columbus Day to you. At least they opened the door for us, filthy and starving masses, to leave Europe and come to a better place. Friday I was talking about a little bit about why the jobs numbers were not jumped up and down on the headline. 7.8% unemployment sounds great, and I would love if it was true. Unfortunately, there's two numbers they come out with, U3 and U6. U6 is marginally attached workers. People who are not actively looking for work, but have indicated they want a job and have looked for work without success sometime in the last 12 months. This class also includes discouraged workers who have completely given up on finding a job because they feel like they just won't find one. If you lived in Detroit now and there's, I think you're under 21, 55% of the people are unemployed, you're probably not going to look. Well, in the U3 number, they don't count you anymore. People who are looking for full-time work but have to settle on a part-time job due to economic reasons are also in the U6. This means they are making a whole lot less money and probably working a whole lot less than they should be. This means that they want full-time work but can't find it. The U6 number is mostly what the markets will pay attention because it's actually a decent barometer, a little core temperature for you guys that remember when they used to put thermometers somewhere else, just to really check you up there just a little bit different. But if you got to get your core temperature checked, it's the U6 number that people, at least in the market, tend to pay attention to, and why the collective yawn. And of course, need about 250,000 jobs a month to really get going and make up what we've lost in the past. 115, even if they're revised up like they have been the last few months, to 150 or 170 are still about 100,000 short of a decent recovery number, and why we will continue to see weakness in those numbers. And what else do we have? Airbus versus Boeing. We got numbers out from Boeing on what they've actually shipped. Boeing was reporting 962 gross orders placed so far just in 2012. That's more than double Airbus's numbers in 437. A couple of reasons for it. One, the declining dollar certainly has allowed Boeing to export their product at much more favorable prices. The other is that a lot of people making orders, especially China, is unsure what will happen if the EU breaks up and whether or not they'll be able to get parts. If they split all apart and blow up Airbus, which is a hugely subsidized industry for all of Europe, as it's made in 3 or 4 or 5 different countries. Boeing also led Airbus in 2012 deliveries, helped by 23 anticipated 787 Dreamliners. I wonder when mine's showing up. I need the TFNN David White Special 787 Dreamliner, just like the boys have out there at Google. That nice 787 Dreamliner. Ooh, so nice. Anyway, in the hands of the airline. Most of the orders, it looks like, or the great amount of orders coming in, surprisingly enough, is not for the really big airplanes. In fact, it looks like Airbus may go broke on the giant 380 that they've been pushing, with only about 8 orders. So not a lot of people actually looking at them. Of course, to actually make those things work, you're going to have a lot more airports with much thicker runways. And right now, just a handful of very long-haul airlines buying those Airbuses, the big ones. They've already had 2 accidents where these things are so big, no one can see anything. They've hit other planes. A couple of times it's become viral on YouTube about these big 380s hitting the small little planes and the Learjets and literally spinning them around like tops. But Boeing looks like it's doing very well, and if you remember everything, you know that the old saying from the pilots is Boeing or I ain't going. Anyway, I think you can look at them at least being one of the bright, shiny spots in what we're doing. The Supreme Court agreed on Friday to hear Indiana farmers' appeal that challenges the scope of Monsanto's patent rights on its Roundup Ready seeds. This is where a gentleman went, bought some seeds, thought that they were just average corn seeds out there, planted them in his, I think they were corn seeds, planted them in his field, and Monsanto came by, took a few seeds off, ran a DNA test, and said, some of these are proprietary seeds and you didn't buy them, therefore you can't sell them. And of course, they didn't know anything any better. The whole issue on whether Monsanto can continue to own genetically modified seeds. Let's say if they're in one field and one farmer has them, the seeds blow into another field, and there's, let's say, out of, 100,000 corn stalks, there's, let's say 50 that were Monsanto that just happened to grow up out of there. And, could they make them go through and DNA test every one of those? What is the actual scope of owning a living organism, or one that can actually live? And Monsanto, along with a couple other cases, are really going to decide. One of the other cases in going to the Supreme Court, too, is whether you have the right to sell something after someone has sold to you. Let's say that you bought a book, a regular paperback book. Some people, and actually I think it is O'Reilly Publishing, that is challenging the right to actually go and buy something and then resell it. The reason is that they sell the same textbooks here in America for half the price in Indonesia in English, and then somebody very smart decided to go ahead and start buying a bunch of in Indonesia and selling them on eBay over here for about 10%. The guy made about $1.5 million real quick in a couple of years, and of course O'Reilly came after them. I'm pretty sure it was O'Reilly. So that's also going to the Supreme Court. But that means anybody with any copyright or patent issues might be able to hold and say whether or not you could ever sell anything again. Now, the question is whether or not Congress would act on that, and I suspect that they would fairly quickly. But the question is, just how, since they have a product that may wander into your cornfield, do they really have the right to go after you like that? Monsanto's kind of been rather beastly on this, so I don't know what the legal limits are. I suspect if they do win, it will get changed anyway. But they've been pretty some rat... can I say it? I don't think so. How about children of unwed couples? They've been rat that name there. So I'm not really too worried about it if they lose. In fact, I'd like it to be a little bit better. I understand how much money they actually spend to create these genetically modified crops. But my question is, if could you actually say you own everything if you changed a dog's DNA with one GATC in the whole DNA? Could you say that you own every dog from then on? That's basically they're saying. If they make any modification, all subsequent stuff from then on they own. Can you imagine that Microsoft in their Word actually said that anything you wrote because you used our program we owned? And that's exactly the kind of thing that's going to be coming on. I always remember Monsanto from my high school days, where all the drug abusers, and I mean we had heavy drug abusers in 1978, had gotten the Monsanto T-shirts. They had always it said Monsanto. Without chemicals, life itself would be impossible. Of course, they were all on acid or some other drug at the time, and of course their insanity kept me away from drugs. So kind of thank them for taking the bullet on that one. I never got into drugs. Be back in a minute.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Wealth Management. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportions of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley believes a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what an asset allocation and a Morgan Stanley Wealth Management financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, LLC. Member SIPC.
with the launch of Tiger TV. TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Ken Shreve, David White, Larry Pesavento, Victor Jones, or Daryl Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
80% of traders fail because they don't know when to get in or out of a market, and all because no one taught them how to read the signs. You see, the stock market has a universal language called Japanese candlesticks, and each day, the buyers and sellers, the bulls and bears, go to work and build signs. This language has been around for thousands of years, and it's easy to learn. I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of the Money Masters Show, and I'm a master sign builder. Download my free report, Candlesticks, The Speed of Trust, on the homepage of TFNN.com for one of the best-kept candlestick secrets. I'll also be conducting an online course Friday, October 19th, to teach you the language of the market's sign builders. You'll learn the best entry and exit techniques and strategies that will create extraordinary rewards. The course will be archived so you can review it as many times as you like, because trading or investing without learning this language is like running a red light. It's an accident waiting to happen, and there's no airbags or seatbelts. All the details are on the homepage of TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, I think it's Huawei. I don't know how it's actually pronounced. But Congress has come out, Intelligence Committee or Subcommittee, and said Huawei and another Chinese telecom, ZTE, cannot be trusted to be free of influence from Beijing, could be used to undermine U.S. security. This gets fairly deep, and I'm going to do a lot of conjecture here because we will not know, and I don't have access to the actual hardware. Somebody in the den's already come up with an idea. Anyway, Congress says that they can't be trusted. They make routers and some other telecom equipment. And there's two things in what we see with this announcement today. One, pretty much easy and 100% verifiable. They stole a lot of code from Cisco for their routers. And they continue to sell them with pretty much impunity. The other thing is that that they put in either, and I believe it is a hardware backdoor into the routers, so that the Chinese could go in and snoop on routing information. This came to light when apparently a bunch of information was leaked about some decisions happening in Australia. We don't buy many of these routers. They're pretty crappy. No one in the United States would buy these things at a high-end telecom, but a lot of third-world countries, or Australia, even first-world countries, but not the leaders like Germany or something like that. Australia makes a lot of money, but doesn't seem to be a lot in infrastructure and technology. But they found out a lot of information on some of the mining activity, some of the else. They tracked it back, and my understanding is that there may be hardware backdoors into these routers that were built and the design. But between them just out and out stealing Cisco property and continuing to sell it, and Cisco getting nowhere, Cisco's kind of put the hammer on it. When they started to look a little bit farther, they found out that Huawei did have a pretty big issue with Chinese using these backdoors. Backdoors are nothing new. Since the earliest days of Windows software, there have been people either overtly or covertly put in companies like Microsoft. They're shoving little backdoors into the software so our NSA could go and look and see what other people were doing. Long offered tradition is we've got to know what the other people are doing. We didn't turn it over to our own corporations to basically break and give information to our own corporations. We wanted to, keep it a secret. But apparently China kind of looks at their military and their own companies as the same thing. So as soon as they started getting some of this data, we found out fairly quickly because the Chinese companies were exploiting this information that they were getting through the government's back doors that they placed. Nothing's new in this, but apparently it is just so egregious that they don't want to say anything. Of course, we've done it. They're doing it now. But it's pretty easy to track. For most software now for China, especially government, anything political, they use basically Linux. So that they can look at all the code. How did Huawei get all of the information from Cisco? Pretty much now, if you want to sell your product in China, you have to give them the source code, and they will look through it to make sure the NSA didn't put any kind of backdoors in it and are spies. Sometimes the companies have absolutely no idea it's there. They'll get to a design engineer or a software programmer and go, you need to be a little friendly here to America, put this in the back door, and here's 20 grand, by the way. It's not beyond our spy agencies actually getting into those companies and making things happen, and the CEOs none the wiser out there. But pretty easy to find out. There's currently, because you can't do this without really slowing these routers down, it's pretty easy to spot it. In fact, one of the companies that was big into piracy, his name's Kim.com, is down in New Zealand. They've been trying to bring him back here to the United States, but it's gotten pretty bad. He's probably going to walk on all the stuff for Mega Upload because they found out that our government was pushing to surveil him long before there was any kind of search warrant to do so in New Zealand. So I think they're going to probably end up throwing all of it out. He's probably going to stay in New Zealand with his millions and millions of dollars. But it's I don't know if you can even use it anymore. The lag is pretty easy to spot. Most people know if you continually are looking in through the back door on this. But I suspect that these guys, it was pretty much said, if you use these guys, we won't be using you.
You've heard Tom O'Brien on the air, and you've seen him on Tiger TV, being featured as a regular CNBC guest and contributor, and now you can have access to his expert trading advice each morning through his daily trading newsletter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, gives traders, investors, and money managers a thorough strategy for trading stocks, options, and indices every market day. Market Insights comes out each market day before 9:30 a.m. and provides traders with Tom's daily commentary, opinion, and specific trade recommendations on the markets. Using advanced Fibonacci methods, volume indicators, Gartley patterns, candlestick charting, gaps, and market timing, Market Insights will give you specific trade recommendations including entry, stop, and exit prices. The summer is over and traders are back. Get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. If you're an investor looking for a great weekly investment newsletter, then now is the perfect time to try out Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Every Tuesday, Ken breaks down multiple sectors in his weekly newsletter, Ultimate Growth Stocks, with a full in-depth report including specific trading recommendations within his model portfolio, charts, sector analysis, upcoming economic data, along with intra-week trading updates on newsletter positions whenever the market dictates. Right now, you can receive a full month, that's 30 days, to evaluate Ken's newsletter free of charge to see if it fits your trading plan. At less than $75 per month, Ken provides you with his expert trading advice that can pay for itself in no time. Take advantage of this great offer by signing up for a 30-day free trial to Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks today. Don't let this offer pass you by. Visit the front page of TFNN.com and sign up now. TFNN and Great Panther Silver have teamed up for another exciting silver giveaway. The Great Panther Silver Halloween giveaway will be taking place at the end of October, and for 3 full days, we'll be giving away silver coins and bars every hour from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. to one lucky winner randomly chosen. There's no purchase necessary. For more information and to fill out your registration form today, simply visit the front page of TFNN.com where you'll find all the details. October 29th, 30th, and 31st, we'll choose one lucky winner that will receive a silver coin or bar courtesy of Great Panther Silver. Winners will be announced live on the air each hour for 3 full days. Don't miss out on this great opportunity to win free silver from TFNN and Great Panther Silver. Register today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com, and for more information on Great Panther Silver, you can click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE Amex, symbol GPL, or on the Toronto Stock Exchange, symbol GPR. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Crocodile Gold. For more information, just click the Crocodile Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Anyway, I was just going to finish this up. Kim.com used to own Mega Download, which was you could upload any file you want and then give a link to it and other people could download it. And it was used for piracy a lot. He just didn't, basically it's one of those things. So he didn't ever upload any pirated software or download any. He just gave the facilities for other people to do that. Some of it was not copyrighted material. Of course, the U.S. government came after him. But he paid about $1,500 a month to get a really fast internet connection down in New Zealand. And he was playing Soldier of Fortune or one of those third-person shooter games. And he paid all this month to get a direct line from the city run out to his house and pay huge fees a month to get it. Of course, he had $250 million, I think, dollars. And he started noticing that he couldn't fight against anybody else with his game. Of course, everybody has to have a fast internet connection. He went from a very fast internet connection to an extremely slow one, and pretty much put the two together. Anytime you look or you touch anything, if you ever watch CSI, you know that if you actually get involved, you actually change everything that you touch. And pretty much how everybody knows that other people are looking. If everything starts slowing down a lot, you probably have a virus, or maybe you've got the NSA, or in this case the Chinese taking a look at you. But pretty easy to figure out. It's very hard to do without anyone knowing. 10 million iPad minis. Component suppliers are talking very much now about hiring a lot of people to get iPad minis out for Christmas. They've ordered enough 10 million units or enough parts for 10 million units between now and Christmas. But Apple is not doing so hotly here. And I would imagine a lot of people are going, well, they're going to be selling a lot more stuff than what they're doing. How could that be? And wanted to get into it, and that is the Apple is what? It's off another $12.90. Support was going to be right around $6.44. It's gone through that down to $639.73. I've been talking for about 2 weeks. I sent out my a special report about the weakness of the supply chain for Apple. And why is that? I was going to assume that Apple's not going to do well if their suppliers are not going to be doing well. That is margins. Apple is just like Walmart. When their margins start to get hit, they just beat everybody below them down. And that is generally a good indication that Apple's margins on some of these products, especially the phones, are coming down. I don't know what kind of deal they have right now with the manufacturers. We've talked about that before. They sell the phones for about $650. And in the olden days, I think it was right around $200. It's going to be about $215 for the current iPhone 5. So you're going to see the margins start to come down, especially with the Galaxy phones that are really becoming huge competition at the high end. The market calls them super phones, or phones that are at the very, very top end of expense. But also, the fastest processors, the biggest displays. They aren't the less expensive $100 models that you get. And they call them, of course, the top end, like the Galaxy or the Samsung Galaxy and Nexus phones, and Google Nexus 7, some of the other products at the very high end. But I suspect that what you are seeing in Apple is the belief that margins are coming down. And it doesn't matter if they make more money. When you start seeing margins come down, Wall Street runs. I brought this up on Friday's show with Tom O'Brien. That is, and it's beyond me. You could drop your margins in half, sell 100 times more, and for the most part, the belief would be that you're not going to, one day your margins are going to go to zero and you're not going to make anything. Whether then you even made a lot more money. And generally, the people in Wall Street, because probably 9 out of 10 times they are right. When they see margins drop, the overall profitability of the company, no matter how many more you sell, can't be overweighted. So we're looking at Apple. I suspect this thing, you've got a lot of movement back down here, and it's really weighing on the rest of the at least tech sector. Of course, it's somewhere around 20% of the NASDAQ 100 and 10% of the S&P. So you've always got to know what Apple's doing. It is, the only thing that really has more correlation with the movement of the S&P right now is energy. Energy correlates to about 30% of the movement, and Apple right now about 10% of the movement of the S&P. If you look at those two things, you're going to see 40% of the actual S&P movement out there. So just be know about it. But they are having production problems. There's a lot of discussion whether or not there's little mini riots going on at Foxconn, the manufacturer. I suspect that part of that's weighing on them too. China says that there's no problem. The quality control guy for one of the Foxconn manufacturing plants was beat up over the weekend and tossed out in the street, I think from the second floor window. So there are things going on there. So when China says there's nothing going on, and we hear reports that there's riots going on, truth is probably somewhere in between. But because of the controlled environment of China, you're not going to really find out what it is. But look for the Pinkertons to come in just like they did in the 1910s and 20s when unions were starting to grow here. The difference is they've got tanks now over in China, and they're more than willing to kill off a bunch of people. They got a lot more. So I suspect why this will move for a while. They are running out of employees, and a lot more of the Foxconn facilities for building all kinds of electronics are moving farther and farther out of the city. And these guys that grew up on the farm, not willing to take it as much as the guys in the city. But that's pretty much it. Anyway, I wanted to look at some charts here real quick. I'll probably go to Apple first here and take a look and see what it's doing. As we look and see, where's my charts here? Bring them on up. AAPL. See where we can see where this thing's going. I've talked a little bit about really good confluence levels, that they are thin and that they come over time. We're going to try to clean this chart up just a little bit. Hopefully you're watching Tiger TV. If not, I'm showing you a very good ABC pattern of two, basically at ABC, we've hit the top at 705, and now we're pulling back. There's two things that make me think that Apple is coming back. We don't have a lot of volume here, but even just a normal retracement can take this thing back down to the $600 range. There's two things. There's a high volume low, and that happened on 725. That is at 575. Right about in there, there's also a confluence level. Confluence levels are where two Fibonacci retracements, the 681 of one and the 381 of one and the 618 of the other intersect. I don't know if you can see it because it's probably going to be a little smeared, but there's three little ticks here in art for the charts, and even in the timing the trade charts that we used to have out. But those little tick marks are the 381, the 0.5, and the 618 retracements. And what we actually see in these is the move between the 618 of one and the 0.381 of the other. I'm going to sit there and rattle those off about 20 times wrong. But basically, the biggest one of one and the smallest one of the next one. That sets up a little bit of room, that we have a gap there, that we have a fairly tight trading range, and that's probably a little wider than I would like. It's about 15 bucks in there. But that little range in there, let me see if I can't zoom in just a little tighter, a little bit too much here. See if I can get back in there. But that range goes from about 574 to, what is that? Unfortunately, I sit so far away from, sitting 3 feet away from my monitor, or 4 feet. And it's very tough for me to see these little numbers. A little easier when you're actually in front of them. So yeah, 590. So you've got a pretty good range there of only about 20 bucks. That should be moderate or better support, and I suspect that's where it's headed back because you also have that high volume low. Doji back on that day on 725 that had 31 million shares, and one of the biggest volume days we've had out there. And I think that would just be the consolidation of Apple, and I think it's going to consolidate for a while. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. It's had some giant moves. A lot of people are going to probably predict the end of Apple. I will not. But I suspect that right now a lot of people that have been long Apple for a long time are suspecting that the margins are going to come down as they actively try to compete against less expensive products like Google tablets and their Nexus 7s with Amazon's text reader for about 139 bucks. Most of these people are trying to sell things like Amazon with their text readers, or trying to sell books and make money other way. Apple with iTunes doesn't make near the amount of money that Amazon would make with their book reader. Some of these other companies doing stuff. Google making money on each license for it. So there's a lot of, especially Asian manufacturers, willing to produce stuff for 10-15% margins if they can sell enough of it. So anyway, look for, if this thing does come back down here and someone wanted to buy Apple again, I wouldn't consider it unless you got back down into probably around that 580 range and the volume really dried up and maybe you'd have a nice little movement up here in the trading range from 705 back down here to 580. Not a bad trading range. Anyway, we're going to look at some other charts here. Google, it's finally started to get close to maybe even hitting a trend line on the downside, but no volume here today. Google still seems to be the stronger stock of all of these. About, 10 weeks ago, maybe 12 weeks ago, Steve Rhodes hosted the Tom O'Brien show in my Tech Insider and asked me of all the companies which one I'd rather be long, and that is Google. Google has continually been able to monetize, and not with a lot of guesses about how they're going to make money. Facebook, no one knows how they're really going to make money. Everybody keeps fighting around and debating. Yes, they have a billion people, but how do they actually turn that into money? How do they monetize it? Google has not had a problem with that. They continue to hire the best marketeers out of New York. In fact, there's some complaints about them hiring some very good talent from New York ad agencies and things like that, and turning into marketing and selling just about any kind of search that they have. And of course, with Maps, it's really brought out what Apple's done in that. Let's go ahead and take a look. I wanted to see just what kind of volume we had now in the marketplaces, and it is very light so far. S&P volume, let me update this just to make sure, but I'm showing 1.5 billion shares, which is very light. That would be bullish if you are thinking on the bullish side out here. We're off about 5-6 points. And we could have a light volume retrace that drives everybody nuts, setting up us up to a higher and much bigger move. But I think we've probably bitten off everything we should before the election, and I'm looking for a retreat back into about the 1360 level on the S&P cash. Would just be, even then, would be a normal retracement. That's not the end of the world. Markets go up, markets go down, and markets do not go straight up. That would probably be the worst case scenario for Apple, is that it hasn't had a real decent retrace. For Google, it hadn't had a real decent retrace, and we need to continue looking at those. Let's go ahead and go to the NASDAQ here real quick and check out what we have in movers out here. eBay's off about 2.5%. Expedia's off about 2%. Citrix Systems off about 2%. Avago Technologies. Now remember, we've been talking about the supply line for Apple, and Avago was one of the ones I brought up, and that you needed to be watching out here. This thing, probably not the worst one, and no, I think that there are a lot better shorts out here, but I don't think it would be beyond the pale to see this thing go back and test its last low. That was on May 21st at $29.70. They make some of the RF technology in the iPhone 5, and probably going to be some of the technology in the iPads. It's a little tougher to see on that, but is one of the stronger ones off today. And we'll take a look at maybe a few of these others when we come back. Qualcomm, another one, down about 2%. As Apple goes, so will these other companies that supply them parts, COM. But they certainly were the canary in the coal mine, and why I did a special report about 2 weeks ago on these breaking.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll you'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try patterns, profits, and peace of mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to tfnn.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's patterns, profits, and peace of mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the Rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to tfnn.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to tfnn.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Managing your money is a business, and I want you to succeed in any economic environment. The markets are changing fast, and if you do the right thing at the wrong time, you'll have your head handed to you. But if you do the right thing at the right time, the rewards are extraordinary. I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of The Money Masters with Tom O'Brien, and I have a roadmap that'll guide you and give you the flexibility of change. To succeed in these markets, you need a competitive advantage. And for one solid day, I'll teach you the language called Japanese candlestick charting. Without it, you're dead meat. With it, you have an unfair advantage. Learn the techniques that provide you the strategy for entering and exiting a trade, plus learn the best trading patterns in the business. It's not enough to do the right thing. You've got to do it at the right time. Join me October 19th for our one-day online course, Candlesticks, Silent Signals, and the Speed of Trust. Go to the homepage of tfnn.com and sign up today, because an unfair advantage is a great thing to have.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at tfnn.com.
As we come back, just going to check in this market one more time. Very light volume, and of course, we need to be watching that. I think we're probably going to see, we've kind of seen a little bit of break in the market. We have yet to see some major failures. Everybody comes back and starts buying it. Most of it looks to be, from the action, looks to be the Treasury. Maybe they intend on holding this market up all the way to the elections, so maybe one of these things where it's not fight the Fed, but don't fight the Treasury, at least till the election's over. But certainly looks like very little individual stock buying. Almost all of it looks like it's firing away at the major indexes to prop the market up. And as soon as the market goes flat, most of those are sold back in the market. So it could be a big fish on Wall Street, or all of them on Wall Street, wanting to go out and distribute stock at these prices. But we continue to see a lot of movement in this marketplace. And I just wanted to check, 1.55 billion shares, so not a great deal of volume. This is going to be one of the lighter volume days of this year, and we're still off about 6 points on the S&P. Going to be kind of interesting to see how the close goes on this and whether or not we hold that 6 points down. But I suspect we are getting awful close. I was doing a little bit of work with Steve Rhodes. He had kind of an idea, and I needed to do a little bit of programming for him to figure out what he was looking at. But one of the things I did get out of it was that we had about 800 stocks hit 52-week highs on the end of QE3 announcement. Of those 800, a little over 800 stocks, about 500 of them are still above that high. 300 of them are lower. I guess the question is, even though we have a lot of stocks at highs, are these stocks able to actually continue? Are you promoting Wing? Oh no, I just had my cup here. Actually, I went to the Wing House on Saturday night. Yeah, okay. So I left my cup out here, and the engineer is asking me if I'm pumping the Wing House and their tasty wings. And maybe the waitresses of dubious moral fiber. But it's hard to tell. But anyway, we are doing a little bit of work, and maybe I think Steve will probably have some information for his readers out fairly soon on it. But just, what the effect of QE 1, 2, 3 and the twist have been over time. And probably see something out, but we continue to look at this. I wanted to look at a couple other stocks real quickly before the end of the day. And, I've got a couple of stocks short. One's down maybe 3-4% today. So we're starting to see some of these things actually weaken out, but we still have a very short market, very high short interest rates. Short interest in a lot of these stocks, and it doesn't take much to get a short covering rally started. But I continue to see stocks like Apple with some weakness, with IBM not able to hold its previous high of $210.69. Even though we've had significant volume, we're seeing a little bit of pullback there. You want to watch these very closely, just like we were watching a lot of those stocks, a week ago? Yeah, I think about a week ago we started bringing up on the show the supply chain for Apple. Most of these are very close at make or break lines, so we should know whether we have confirmation of a down move in this market. I would suspect in the next 48 hours we're either going to have a big move down or some confirmation that this market's going to go sideways to the election. I suspect maybe the catalyst will be Wednesday night. We'll be back.